We're here at Webster Lake on Indian Ranch to catch up with one of the most respected players in Boston sports history. A 17-year tenure with the Red Sox, Tim Wakefield was the ultimate team player. He started, relieved, and closed for the Red Sox and baffled some hitters with that physics-defying knuckleball. Now let's find out if the outdoorsmen can do a little fishing. Tim Wakefield was practically unknown when he arrived in Boston in 1995, but he wasted no time establishing himself as a frontline pitcher. From then until 2012, Wake became a Red Sox legend, dazzling hitters with his knuckleball and being a part of 2 World Series championships in 2004 and 2007. It was an amazing career, but did you know that he was drafted into the major leagues as a power-hitting first baseman?
I tell people I was allergic to wood because I got drafted as a hitter and then they put a wood bat in my hand and I couldn't hit anymore.
Yeah, we need the aluminum bats in the professional league.
Exactly.
Yeah, that'd be great. But then the transition to the knuckleball pitcher, which is very rare, but just how you got involved into that.
Well, it's something I learned from my dad when I was a little kid. Kind of from my dad's perspective, it was his way of tiring me out. He would throw me knuckleballs and I couldn't catch it and I would run back to the fence, and it was kind of his way of getting back in the house to have dinner, right? And growing up in Florida, we had the closest team that we had was the Atlanta Braves. That's the team I rooted for, and Phil Niekro was on the team. So I kind of was intrigued by what he was doing and how he did it, and I just kind of practiced it as a kid and never thought anything of it. High school, I used it a little bit, but I went on to Florida Tech and played first base and did all that stuff and got drafted by the Pirates in the 8th round of the 1988 draft, and I couldn't hit anymore. Like, what happened? So it was 1989, was goofing around with another first baseman, throwing knuckleballs back and forth, and my manager walked behind me and said, "Hey, I didn't know you can do that." And I said, "Well, I pitched a little bit in high school. How hard can this really be?" So I went over to the bullpen mounds and threw for the pitching coach there. His name was Bruce Keeson, and nothing else was said. I got sent to Augusta, Georgia, and I played in that league for maybe a month. I wasn't playing. Then they sent me back to the New York Penn League, where I was in Welland, Ontario. Still wasn't playing. I was like a utility guy, catching bullpens. I was doing whatever I could to stay on the team. And then the organizational meetings came up at the end of that summer, and they go through every player's name, and they got to my name, and I was going to get released at the end of the summer. And the manager, his name's Woody Huckey, who's still with the Pirates, spoke up on my behalf and said, "Hey, I saw something pretty special in this kid. Why don't we bring him to instructional league and see where it goes?" And then 2.5 years later, I'm in the big leagues with the Pittsburgh Pirates, pitching against the Atlanta Braves.
That's unbelievable.
I know, it's crazy.
Thank goodness
it's a
for
crazy
that guy,
story.
huh?
Exactly. Yeah, I thank him every day.
Fast forward, released by the Pirates, picked up by the Red Sox a week later, and Dan Duquette hooks you up with Phil to kind of work on mastering.
Yeah, he called me right away. Like, it was about 3 days after I got released. I was in my hometown in Melbourne, Florida, not knowing what was going to happen. Dan Duquette called and said, "We want to send you to Fort Myers." Both Joe and Phil Niekro were there. I got to go and meet Phil and Joe, and they changed my life. They really did, especially Phil. I can remember vividly, we would go on a backfield in the minor league complex, and I'd be throwing to hitters, and he would stand behind me behind the net and said, "Okay, you need to add a little bit to this one." He taught me how to pitch with the knuckleball.
Wow.
He taught me how to make one pitch into 3 by adding and subtracting speed, and then knowing when to throw my fastball, when to throw my curveball.
And it certainly worked, because that first season with the Red Sox, you dominated. I'll just say 16-8 with a 2.95 ERA. You finished 3rd in the Cy Young voting. I mean, ahead of some big names.
Yeah, it was a whirlwind for me that year, because I had just come off a 5-15 record in Buffalo the year before, and next thing I know, I'm in one of the best baseball cities, and I have the year that I had. It was magical.
Stay with us on Outside the Fame for more baseball talk with Tim Wakefield. And we also head out to have some fun on the lake. This episode of Outside the Fame is brought to you by East Coast Metal Roofing, your lifetime roofing solution.
Swing and a miss. First strikeout of the night for Wakefield. The Yankees down in order, tied at 1.
Well, Tim, the reason actually we are here at Indian Ranch is because you are an avid fisherman.
Yeah.
Only other time I've ever been fishing was with this guy, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So It didn't go
You
very
did catch
well.
a fish,
I
if you
did.
don't remember.
I
A
think it
speckled
was-
trout, like a sea trout.
Well, keep going, keep going.
It was
keep
about this
going.
big.
Indian Ranch in Webster, Mass. is a hidden gem, known for its great outdoor summer concert venue. But recently, they've added a beautiful lakeside restaurant called Samuel Slater's and tours on the Indian Princess riverboat. Of course, Tim and I were there to do some fishing, and I, for one, was prepared. I made myself my own fishing hat. And
Wait,
be
there's
very,
hooks on it.
I
Don't
know,
hook
be
me.
very careful because I'm not that talented, so the hooks are hanging from the side, so everybody be careful.
That would have been the first thing I would have removed.
I'm
is
gonna
the
say
hooks.
this thing's gonna work. I'm just gonna say. So
It's a lucky hat.
I want to bring in our friend Paul from East Coast Metal Roofing because this lake has a crazy name.
It
which
does.
is 45. Let me say it again. 45 letters long.
They told us it like 7 times, and I don't even know the first syllable.
Let's go canoeing on Lake Chagagagag, Manchagaga, Chabanagangamon.
When this guy was a young lad, it was part of his curriculum in 2nd grade. He actually had to learn how to say it. Spell it too?
No, not
Okay,
spelled.
just say it.
Yep.
Just say it. So if you could do this at a very slow pace for Tim and I'm going to try to attempt to take the first half of the name, and Tim is going to master the second half of the name of this lake. So
Are you going to take the first 5 syllables, and I get the
last
last
25
25
syllables?
of them?
Yes,
Yeah,
I mean-
thanks.
Let's go canoeing on Lake Chagagagag, Manchagaga, Chabanagangamon.
I'm going to do my best here for everybody that lives in Webster. I don't want to get any grief for this, but it's been 35 years since I've routinely done it. But Lake Chagagagog, man, Chagagagog, Shabungamungamog. Which means you fish on your side, I fish on my side, nobody fishes in the middle.
You fish on your side, I'll fish on mine.
slow, go slow.
Lake Chagagagog,
Tragagagog.
Lake Chagagagog.
man, Chagagagog.
Man. Okay,
Man
Lake
Chagagog.
Chagagagog, man. Your turn.
Chagagagog.
On that lake with the really, 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 really long name.
Shabungamungamog.
Shabungamungagog.
Mog.
Mog. Mog.
Shabungamagagog. Mog. Dang it.
We'll be sore and that'll be a shame.
Lake Chagagagog, man, Chagagagog.
No, I'm ending at man. Just man.
Man Chagagog. No,
Lake-
you gotta go.
No,
Come
no, I
on.
want you to go the whole way. Lake Chagagagog, man.
Chagagog.
Chagagog.
Shabungamungamog.
Shabungamungamog. Yes! I got it. I got it. You fish on your side, I'll fish on my
We're
side.
gonna say it like
Nobody
that.
fishes
No
in
one
the middle.
fishes in the middle. Stay tuned. Tim and I look back on the magical year of 2004, and we get down to trying to catch that big one. Welcome back to Outside the Fame. We're here at Indian Ranch in Webster, Mass, enjoying the outdoors and talking baseball memories with Tim Wakefield. And nothing was more memorable than 2004, the year that ended the 86-year-old curse.
What was great about that team is that we all got along together. We all pulled from the same rope, and we gelled towards the end. We struggled in August, and I tell people this, and I hate to use this as a reference point, but the fight between A-Rod and Tech was really a turning point for us. In my opinion, that's what changed our mindset the rest of that summer and into the postseason.
It wasn't the shots with Cowboy Up or the Band of
I have
Idiots.
no idea what you're talking about.
I love it. I love it. You take the fifth on that one.
Always.
But that year was a great year for you as well. You started 33 games, had 4 playoff appearances. Just talk about personally your year that year and just feeling being part of that team.
I was honored to have, I was in the starting rotation all year. All 5 of us made every one of our starts. None of us missed a start that year, which is incredible.
That is incredible.
Everybody
I don't even
stayed
think I
healthy.
knew
It
that.
was Schilling, Pedro, me, Derek Lowe, and Bronson Arroyo. Every one of us made every one of our starts, which is
That is incredible.
it's incredible.
I didn't know that stat.
So, and then we get to the postseason, and at that point, it's all hands on deck. And it was Game 3. We were getting killed so much, and I was sitting on the bench with Mirabelli and a couple other guys, and I was supposed to start game 4. And we were just talking about, like, what do? We can't use Timlin. We don't want to use Embry and Fulke. They've been used already. So we need to, kind of save those guys. So I went to Tito and asked him if he needed me to go down there. And he said, put your spikes on.
Wow.
Do what you can. So I ran down there and pitched, I think, 2 2/3 innings, and we lost the game 19-3, something crazy. It's like, okay, what do you want to stick around? I mean, what's going to happen? Like, here we go again, right? I get to the park the next day, and Kevin Millar, he was the leader of that clan, right?
Yeah.
And he started chanting, "Don't let us win tonight. If we win tonight, we got, tomorrow night, and then we got Pedro and Schilling in game 6 and 7. And, and it changed a lot of guys' mindset. It was like, okay, here we go. Let's win tonight. Just win tonight, and then we'll worry about tomorrow when tomorrow comes. And it turned out, the way it did. And I attribute Kevin Millar for changing the narrative.
Obviously, that was the magical year, breaking the 86-year-old curse. What was that celebration like?
Wow.
I mean, incredible.
Yeah, it's still, to this day, I get goosebumps when I think about it. And I think the most precious thing that I could say about it was being able to share it with generations and generations of Red Sox fans. And going through the trials and tribulations that we did, we lost in 03, obviously the Aaron Boone home run that I gave up.
I wasn't going to bring that up. I wasn't going to bring that up.
I wanted to beat you to the punch.
I don't even have it here.
But it made you appreciate it even more when you got to 2004. And the other part is being able to share it with generations and generations of players before us, the Jim Rices, the Dewey Evans, the Johnny Pesky, being able to hand him the trophy in St. Louis, to see the smile on his face, it brings me to tears. Incredible
guy. Totally agree with you. Right up there. I wish he was still in the dugout hanging out.
Me too.
What about the parade through the city of Boston? I mean, there are millions of people.
Well, that was my first experience of a major championship, obviously, and getting on the duck boats. We were all excited. Like, this is going to be cool. What's it going to be like? We always, as a kid, I always watched championship parades on TV, right? And it was amazing. It was like a sea of people on both sides. Oh my God, it was incredible. But when we got back, and it got quiet for a second. I don't know if I can't remember if it was my left or my right ear, was like, it felt like I was at a rock concert up against the speaker, because whatever side of the boat I was on, that was the ear that got was ringing.
Screaming, yeah.
I'll never forget that.
You probably went a little deaf from that parade.
Yeah, for about 6 hours afterwards, but it was well worth it.
Yeah,
it was incredible.
Coming up, another World Series win for the Red Sox and Tim Wakefield. Plus, will we catch some fish? Here with Paul Lecchiara, the owner of East Coast Metal Roofing. We are at the headquarters located here in Oxford. And first of all, it's beautiful. And I was here a while ago and I saw that there's been a lot of growth since then. Talk about just the success of the company so far.
Almost every year we've doubled, and I think a lot of that has to do with just everything that we have in place, from management to quality control guys to delivery drivers. I'm trying to change people's perspective on how they perceive a contractor. We're not a contractor, we're a turnkey. When somebody calls us and says, hey, we want a metal roof, they're going to get from start to finish, not just an installation. We're out there, we're servicing it. Our sales guys, they're not sales guys, they're experts in what we do. And just to be able to offer a product to a homeowner that's going to last a lifetime versus something that's just a Band-Aid, it's definitely something that I really care about.
Tell us about the communities that you serve or where you guys are available.
Well, fortunately for everybody that lives in New England, we service New England.
All right, there you go,
So
New England.
we are licensed in Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. We can install in New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine as well. We have 16 crews currently installing that have all been certified by our manufacturer.
Back to Webster Lake, where we are ready to fish. Well, almost ready.
So you want to grab the line with your finger and then click the bail over.
Okay.
And then now you throw it.
Oh, I hit the boat. Oh my God, that's awesome.
Classic.
Sorry guys, watch out for the hooks. I feel like I'm waiting for the 200-pounder, and I'm like making sure.
Why does a duck have tail feathers?
That's a good question.
To cover his butt quack.
Oh my God, that's such a dad joke.
It is a dad joke. Yep. I am a dad, Jayme.
I know you're a dad. What did the triangle say to the circle?
I don't know.
You're pointless.
Have you ever fished with like Jimmy Houston or any of those guys?
No. The only professional fisherman I've ever fished with was Charlie Moore.
That's a good fish. That's a smallie. Yes!
Oh,
Dude,
Larry.
what's up? What's up, Larry? What's up?
I love that guy.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Is that what you say about me when I'm not here?
Yep. Are they on this shoal here, off the rocks?
Somebody has to catch something. Come on, Wake. Nothing. Oh, I got a bite. I got a bite. Oh, he was nibbling, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
Let's keep reeling.
No, I think I scared him away. Oh, no. Oh, he keeps coming back for more. Oh, my God. Tim, come over here, please. Please come over here.
I think you're hooked on the bottom.
No, something definitely nibbled at it because it was pulling it. Oh, God. That was so exciting for 1 second. I think once he got on, I didn't know what to do.
Well, I think I just had a bite.
No, I think he caught on the bottom.
I did.
We thought switching locations might be the answer, but it was not meant to be on this day. That's why Tim says it's called fishing, not catching. So let's get back to baseball, starting with the 2007 season. A little bit of a different team, still some carryovers from 2004. Just talk about the difference of those two championship runs.
Like you said, the difference was that we had a lot more younger players. Pedroia, Jacoby Ellsbury, guys like that were on the team. John Lester was a rookie. Josh Beckett we had just gotten from the Marlins. Mike Lowell. We had like almost half the team from 2004 was not there anymore.
Right.
It was fun, a different kind of fun. We had a lot of veterans on the team in 04. This was different, and being able to, when we got to the postseason, being able to share our experiences with the younger generation that had been there, it was pretty awesome for me. It was the same but different, if that makes any sense.
You took yourself off the roster to make sure that they had the best chance possible. And my favorite part is you were doing an interview at the end, and your buddy Mike Timlin came in and just gushed about you.
This is what kind of person is standing right here. I love this guy. I'm proud of this guy. It's the hardest thing to do, to take yourself out of the game for someone else. But he did it, and I'm proud of him.
That meant a lot to me that he did that, because people don't realize how hard that decision was for me. I had hurt my shoulder in the Cleveland series. Like, I went through a bullpen, and this is 2 days before the World Series is going to start, and I had to make a decision, and it was the hardest decision in my professional career that I've ever had to make. And I just decided, like, I didn't want to get in game 2 and start throwing and then something happened and I can't finish the second inning. And now I put the rest of my teammates and the rest of the pitching staff in a stressful situation that can't be recovered.
Not too many players would do that, ever. I can't even imagine that. All right, so 2010 comes along, and another great award for you.
Yeah.
Nominated 8 times for the Roberto Clemente Award, which is giving back to the community, and then you win it in 2010.
I'm proud of that award. I was blessed to be able to do what I did. I was given a platform to give back, and I always believed to give back not only to the community I grew up in, but also the community I played in. I just felt that it was my duty to give back.
2011, another historic night for Mr. Tim Wakefield. Your 200th win. I mean, that one brought tears to your eyes.
Yeah,
that was
it did.
Pretty special.
It did, because leading up to that, I mean, it took
I remember
me
you were like
it took
4 or
me-
5 games, right?
It took me 8 tries.
Okay, whatever.
I mean, I left.
Again, I wasn't going to go there.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it was one of those things that's the way it ended up. And I was actually upstairs when they won, and I was celebrating with everybody. And Veritek again came up to me and says, "Man, you got to go outside.
Yeah.
They're chanting your name."
Yeah.
I had no idea. I was floored.
They must have been screaming.
They were
Yeah.
screaming. To be able to share that with them, and then my teammates came back out into the dugout and celebrated with me. That meant that I have a picture of, obviously me and Tech, but with all the other guys there too. But me and Tech hugging each other in the dugout at the top step. It was
Yeah, that was pretty
it's
emotional.
it was
evening.
pretty emotional
Yeah,
evening
very
for me, yeah.
emotional. Today, Tim Wakefield continues his charitable work and is honorary chairman of the Red Sox Foundation. He can also be seen on NESN as an analyst for the Red Sox broadcast. It's been an incredible journey that began when he arrived in Boston a little over 25 years ago. What does Red Sox Nation mean to Tim Wakefield?
Oh my gosh, this is my family. I mean, I spent most of my adult life in a Red Sox uniform and still, work for the Red Sox. And I'm very thankful that I was embraced by the fan base here. They mean the world to me. They do. And to this day, even though I'm not a player, I'm on the air at NESN, as you know, and I do a lot of other stuff still in the community with the Red Sox Foundation. They're still very grateful, and they treat me like, I'm one of theirs, and I feel like I'm one of theirs.
Tim Wakefield.
This episode of Outside the Fame is brought to you by East Coast Metal Roofing, your lifetime roofing solution.